What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. It's Sunday night. That means it's Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. Good to see you in the chat already, Rosie. As I understand it, you got the first like. That means you get double good karma. Awesome. Also, while I've got you here, Rosie, a couple of questions from the X account. I'm glad that you got the talking Trump doll. I think that's fantastic. I do not get kickbacks for the stuff that I read the ads for on Rumble. I do not. I just get the 70 cents about that I make from reading the ad. And what was the other thing? Oh, yes. So, inauguration tomorrow. So, I do not think I'll be doing a stream for the inauguration tomorrow because it's like 9 o'clock West Coast time in the morning. And then, I always need a couple of hours beforehand. And then, but yeah, I don't think it's going to work. I think that, the election stream was awesome. But, we were checking the numbers. We were seeing what was happening with the polls, what the votes were. And, it was a kind of an active thing. This is a much more kind of passive thing. So I'm not sure it would be the best. I might do one later. I mean, if the Democrat, paramilitary, if they, the Democratic attack dogs, if they set them loose tomorrow night to try and, terrorize DC, maybe I'll go live for that. But it seems like they've kept the attack dogs on the leashes for this one, right? Election night, they shut them right down. So I think that the whole, especially after, January 6th was the greatest tragedy in American history. I think that maybe they just think, well, we can't have a bunch of arson and looting and rioting going on. It's just not going to look good. So I don't actually anticipate any of that, but maybe we'll see. I might do something later on tomorrow night if stuff starts popping off. We might go live. Probably not, though. All right. And you are welcome for the karma, for the double good karma, for being the first one to like the stream. It's very important. Very important. Rosie says, the Antipop and I got in a live stream, left open for hours the other night. No video, just live chat. Was that JP Sears? I think you guys were telling me about that. JP Sears. He just left it open. All right. Hey, Rosie says, yeah, too much to stream tonight and then so early tomorrow. I think it's really more just that it's much more of it would be much more of a passive stream. Like with the election night stream, we were, checking the different states, what's happening, looking at the electoral college count. And it's not going to be like that tomorrow. It's going to be much more passive. So I'm not sure it would be that much fun for us anyway. So probably not. And there will be a huge amount of info for Tuesday night too. Yeah. So that's absolutely true. All right. Everybody else watching right now, please put a like on the stream. It's extremely important. It can't just be Rosie so far, can it? Good Lord. Just Rosie. I just added one of my own on. That's how bad it is right now. That's how bad it is. So if you're watching right now, put a like on the stream. It's excellent. It's good for you. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll feel like you're doing something with your life. Of course you will. All right, let's get to the menu. What are we going to talk about tonight? We'll take a quick look at all the stories before we come back and then go through them each in detail. So first off, Trump team has drafted a slate of day one pardons for January 6th. So we'll go through that and we'll take a look a little bit deeper into this. Like, how many people is it? And who are some of the people that have the most insane sentences? We will get into that. And there are like a couple that are just absolutely insane, right? Just purely political to kind of give the sense, to kind of to try and throw some reality on this idea that it was an insurrection, even though nobody was ever charged for insurrection, certainly not Trump. And that is an actual crime that you can be charged with. It tells you something. It tells you maybe the insurrection was a little less insurrection-y than they're claiming. Let's see. Oh, Rosie's saying that was you that ordered the merch on the YouTube store. Yeah, we just got up the merch store just, I don't know, like 30 hours ago. On Rumble, there's a merch store, and then there's a separate merch store because it just works that way on YouTube. So we now have merch, right? On the Rumble one, I only have one design, one t-shirt, one design right now. On the YouTube one, I've got one design, but then that's a whole range of products on there as well. So that one's got cups and even like aprons and hoodies and t-shirt, everything. So if you want some Radio Baloney merch, if you want to look cool in front of the other kids, you've got a couple of options there now. Awesome, Rosie. Thank you very much. I think you're going to enjoy the merch. I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. I think it's going to be fun. People are going to ask you about it. And you can just say, hey, it's this crazy right-wing guy on the internet. All right. So we're going to talk about, so we're going to talk about the pardons. We're going to get into that a little bit. We are going to look at some of the pre-inauguration stuff. He's been holding a rally tonight. So we're going to look at some of this. We're going to look at some of the speculation around it. We got Alex Jones has some interesting stuff he's saying there. He actually ends up being right often. We're going to talk to some of the people that are out protesting Trump. There's not many of them. It's not like 2020, right, where they tried to burn down DC. There's not actually, there's a fair amount, but it's not like a huge mass of people. And I'm telling you right now, they're clearly not sending their best. Protesters, Don Lemon, speculating as to why they're taking the inauguration inside. We all know why. They tried to kill him twice. That's why. It's dangerous being Donald Trump. All right. So I've put out a bunch of stuff on Mark Carney. So you have the Liberal leadership race in Canada right now, right? So Trudeau announced he's stepping down. He will step down when the Liberal Party selects a new leader. So we've done a lot on Mark Carney. It's basically down to two, Mark Carney and Chrystia Freeland. Both just absolutely tied to Justin Trudeau. Inextricably tied to Justin Trudeau. But it's these two. You've got a technocrat globalist banker who's been advising Trudeau for 5 years. Not great. And then you've got Chrystia Freeland, who was the deputy prime minister and the finance minister. So maybe not the best positions to have held if you want to be leader of the Liberal. If you want to try and be prime minister of Canada, probably not great positions to have held for years. So I neither of these has any hope whatsoever, but they're going to fight it out with each other. Maybe they're delusional. Maybe there's some other benefit. Maybe it's just getting their name out there. They can't honestly believe they're going to win. Maybe they actually do. I don't know. So we're going to talk about Chrystia Freeland and give you a little bit of a rundown on who she is, and because we've already done Carney, right? So we'll continue, obviously, as this unfolds, to talk about both of them, but we're going to have an in-depth on Chrystia Freeland this time, whose experience, by the way, before becoming a politician was a journalist. Might not surprise you. Journalist. Interesting. Okay. A little bit more on Mark Carney, just to really just drive it home how awful he is. Propaganda in Canada, just like in the States. Some people who shouldn't be in Canada, their visas have expired, yet they want to keep staying for some reason, and the government knows where they are and who they are, and maybe they should just send them back because they're not supposed to be here anymore. That just seems fair to me. A judge has agreed to expedite the legal challenge of Trudeau's move to prorogue Parliament. Interesting. It's going to go to a judge. It will go to a judge quickly. But the judge is going to just say no. It stays. The judge is going to side with Trudeau, 100%. But who knows? Crazy things happen sometimes. We've got some more Trump derangement stuff, which is always fun. I know just the eyes. Can always just tell in the eyes immediately. There's like a deadness in the eyes. Just like completely taken over by an idea pathogen that's just turned them into a zombie. Terrifying, really. All right. Then we'll get on to the last tab. Woo. I got lots of memes this time. We got some Bill Maher talking about the fires. We've got what have we got here? We got Dave Chappelle. We've got some Dave Chappelle in here. He was on Saturday Night Live last night, apparently. Pretty funny. He's good. I don't love everything. He's not a politician, though. I think he does it. I think he does a pretty good job. Dave Chappelle, even though some of it I think, not wild about it, but he does tend to be funny more often than not. I like him. Lots and lots of stuff. Trump and Son, that'll be funny. Better stick around for that. Let's see, there's a dog pushing. He's happy. Oh, man, I love dogs. All right. And, of course, we have our palate cleanser, our cooking shows, which are palate cleansers for us. Oh, except they don't work sometimes. Hold on. All right. I have to go through all of this again. Why did it do that? Cooking shows. There we go. How about this one? Cooking shows. It's not really so much a cooking show, this one. It's more like it's drinks, but drinks, cooking, whatever. Anyway, I find it relaxing. So when things get too heavy, we'll just take a break with some cooking shows because I find most people enjoy cooking shows, right? Making drinks, bruschetta, sandwiches, and of course, noodles as well. Noodles are a favorite of everybody's. All right. Let's move on. Let's get started. Better have a sip of ranch juice before I lose energy and disappoint everybody terribly. All right, let's get started. Breaking. Trump team has drafted slate of day one pardons for January 6ers, according to a report. This is totally appropriate. A lot of people suffered for just politics, to make a political point for political gain. Trump and his team have reportedly drafted a list of pardons for January 6 defendants that could be enacted as early as Inauguration Day. Incoming President Donald Trump and his team have reportedly drafted a list of pardons for January 6 defendants that could be enacted as early as Inauguration Day. I think there's going to be a bunch that go through tomorrow. This comes after House Speaker Mike Johnson declined to provide a clear stance on whether he believes those involved in the January 6 protest who assaulted police officers should be pardoned. In an interview with NBC, Johnson agreed with Trump's views, stating that such cases need to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. I think you have to look at, like, even cases where there was assault, and assault can mean a lot of different things. Like, we have to remember that the protesters didn't kill anybody. No, Officer Sicknick was not killed by a protester. Officer Sicknick died of a stroke. It was natural causes. It was not during the riot at the Capitol, right? So it could mean a lot of things. I think you have to look at basically the fairness, right? And there's a couple of cases that appear to be completely insane. Every case needs to be evaluated, as he said, but what President Trump is getting at is the lack of faith that people have right now in our system of justice. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if having an insurrection that nobody's been charged with insurrection for instance, I mean, that might be something, right? I wonder if actually legally persecuting your political rival, as Biden did, I wonder if that has anything. I mean, quite obviously so. I wonder if having a DA campaigning in New York, campaigning on getting Trump, no crimes, right? Nothing, no leads, I'm just going to get him. Elect me and I will get him. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. Quite transparently so, right? I wonder if any of that has anything to do with it. Trump and his team have reportedly drafted a list of pardons for January 6 defendants that could be enacted as early as Inauguration Day. Yes. Trump pledged major pardons for many involved in the 2021 event, a commitment that has bothered biased critics who view the incident as an insurrection. Again, there's not one person who's been charged with insurrection, certainly not Trump. It is a crime. You can be charged with insurrection, but nobody has been. Trump expressed sympathy for nonviolent participants during his 2024 campaign, condemning lengthy sentences, but has not specified criteria for granting pardons or early releases to the nearly 1,600 charged individuals. Senator Josh Hawley expressed his support for clemency for nonviolent offenders. I mean, that just seems like a no-brainer. Like the people that were waved in by the Capitol Police, like waved in and just kind of wandered around for a little bit. That's just a no-brainer right there. But firmly opposed it for those who attacked law enforcement or caused destruction. For those kinds of folks whose defense was, I didn't realize, I thought the Capitol was open. The Capitol is a public building. We were not the first ones in. Hawley told USA Today pardons or commutations would be appropriate. I'm against it for people who assaulted cops, threw stuff at cops, broke down doors, broke windows. I mean, that just seems fairly sane. But even in that case, if you threw something at the police, for instance, you know, I think it would be worth it taking a look and just seeing if it was actually reasonable punishment. Certainly some punishment is fair in that case, but what was it? And let's get into a couple of these cases. Rant juice. So, Daytona Beach News Journal. So let's take a look. Now they've got, say, I think 140 Floridians that were charged, but so far nearly 1,600 people have been charged. More than 1,251 people have been convicted or pleaded guilty. 645 people have been sentenced to prison, with punishments ranging from time served to 22 years. 22 years, it's according to the Justice Department. About 600 people were charged with assaulting or interfering with police. USA Today reported a surge of suspects seeking to delay their trials until after January 20th, and that makes a lot of sense. Let's take a look at a couple of the cases here. So you've got Joe Biggs. You might remember Joe Biggs. He used to be on InfoWars, right? So, and he's not surprisingly, he's part of the Proud Boys. So if you had Proud Boys anywhere near your name, right, that makes you a target immediately, right? That makes you a symbol. Leader of Volusia County Proud Boys and Ministry of Self-Defense, and the Ministry of Self-Defense, a group singled out to spearhead the assault. Spearhead the assault. Singled out to spearhead the assault. There was clearly no plan in any of this. Nobody had any weapons. This was clearly just chaos. Convicted of seditious conspiracy, not insurrection, though. Conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to use force, intimidation, or threats to prevent officers of the United States from discharging their duties, interference with law enforcement during a civil disorder, and destruction of government property. Sentenced to 17 years in prison. 17 years. He didn't hurt anybody. There's no charges of like even assault in this. Being a part of the Proud Boys made him absolutely a target for over-the-top punishment. 17 years in prison? Hold on, we got another one here I want to look at. We're almost there. We go. Enrique Tarrio, former national chairman of the Proud Boys. Tarrio was not in Washington, D.C. during the insurrection. He was arrested 2 days before on unrelated charges, but he was accused of directing and encouraging the group members before and during the event and claimed credit for it afterward. Convicted of seditious conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an official proceeding, conspiracy to prevent an officer from discharging any duties, obstruction of law enforcement, destruction of government property. He wasn't even there. Tarrio was sentenced to 22 years. 22 years. The most of any January 6th defendant, followed by 36 months of supervised release. 22 years? He wasn't even there. He said he texted, "Don't leave." He wasn't even there. 22 years? I don't know. This seems insane. I mean, it seems like that's just cruelty, right? Like 22 years? He didn't hurt anybody. There clearly was no insurrection, right? There was clearly no plan. It was just a chaotic riot. Like, the closest thing to a leader seems to be Ray Epps, who the media loves for some reason. It's so weird. How dare you disparage the name of noble Ray Epps? So weird. Wasn't that a weird thing you saw in the media, that we saw in the mainstream media, just like defending Ray Epps? The guy who was like, "We got to go in the Capitol," as people were shouting, what were they saying? Fed, because it seemed so obvious. What a weird thing. They throw this guy in jail for 22 years. The reason he's going to jail, they gave him a 22-year sentence because he's chairman of the Proud Boys, former national chairman of the Proud Boys. That's why. A drinking club that likes Western civilization. So tomorrow, I think tomorrow you're going to see a bunch of pardons, commutations. I think you're going to see that tomorrow, but we'll have to find out tomorrow. I think there'll be lots of news tomorrow. Lots of news. Maybe I will do a live stream tomorrow night. I'm not doing it in the morning, though. I'll be honest with you. I'm just too lazy. I don't want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to prepare for it. Let's see. So let's get to the chat quickly. It's pretty much just Rosie. I've got a lot of Rosie chat to read here. All right. Where is everybody? Why is everybody hiding from the chat? Where's all the rest of the chat? Let's see. It was the JP Sears one that went on for like 18 hours, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Rosie says, "I'm excited to see Trump's list. I have not had time to check it out." Well, I think it's I don't think it's been released. Well, it's not released, right? So we have to wait to find out. Rosie says, "Amazing the injustice done by weaponizing the legal system. I pray they are released early in the afternoon." It was really, I mean, to my knowledge, they're still going after people like little old ladies who who wandered who were waved into the Capitol building with their American flag. They'll probably still be hunting them down and right up until midnight. But it was clearly political because they had to bolster their claim of insurrection. Brr. Right? That's clearly what it was all about. Let's see. Rosie says the videos show people walking and touring and being let in the Capitol. Yes, you can see the videos, people being let in, waved in, and then actually staying within the velvet ropes as well. Let's see. Video from Pelosi's daughter's documentary is Nancy Pelosi verbally blaming herself. Yeah, because they denied the extra Capitol Police. And also, on the request of the chief of the Capitol Police, wanted more for security, and she said no. And also, they didn't let the National Guard in either, which Trump offered. That's documented fact now. It felt a bit weird that. It almost felt a bit staged there. Let's see. Rosie says, I've seen many reports that all remained calm until rubber bullets were fired at people attending. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of stuff about that too. And, yeah. Let's see. Rosie says, could be hiding because it is all Rosie. No, there's other people watching. There's other people out here. They're just shy. Launchpad, how you doing? Good to see you. Says that just anxiously awaiting the arrival of an actual leader. Well, the thing with Trump is that he'll actually be making decisions. Like he'll be active. Like he'll actually take the lead. He'll do things that he wants to do. Unlike Biden, who I think it's pretty clear they were just putting pieces of paper in front of him and having him sign them. It's like I said about the it's like with where he took credit for the Israel Hamas ceasefire. Right? His team. He had nothing to do with it in the first place. His team, I'm sure, did put together the original framework, right? That Trump obviously, according to Netanyahu and his own State Department, said Trump was instrumental in pushing it over the line. But Biden probably didn't know. His people, his handlers probably just told him, oh, yeah, you did it all. And he went, oh, great, I don't remember it, but okay, good for me. Let's see. It is going to remain my show, Rosie. I am a lone wolf. I'm solitary. It's just the way it is. But it would be a great show, though, wouldn't it? It would be a good show. But again, the whole lone wolf thing, it's the problem. Let's see. Yeah, Launchpad took the pressure off Rosie there. Where the hell's everybody else? Usually we got a pretty full house by now. All right. So let's just take a look at some updates from, it's the pre-inauguration part. Let's see. Trump reaffirms his commitment to declassify documents pertaining to the assassination of JFK, Bobby Kennedy, and MLK. So this is his pre-inauguration rally. He just loves doing these things, right? Like, there's no reason that he had to do this the night before his inauguration, right? Like, there's no reason he has to do it. He just likes doing it. He'll probably just keep doing these all throughout his presidency because he just likes it. People like it. He gets big crowds. I think it's where he probably feels most comfortable and is happiest, is out talking to people, like with a bunch of people in a room or out in a field or wherever, just talking to them. Hey, now we're starting to, okay, radio streamers in. Good to see you. He says, what is going on? Them damned commies are keeping out the others. It's probably something to do with communist infiltration, I'm guessing. Let's see. So, but in any case, even though Trump doesn't need to do this, he's having a big rally in D.C. the night before the inauguration. So let's take a look at what he's saying here.
As a first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, and in the coming days, we are going to make public remaining records relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and other topics of great public interest. It's all going to be released, Uncle Sam. As a first step toward restoring transparency.
I mean, why would it take so long? It just seems like an abuse of the ability to classify information, doesn't it? Like it's like an obsession with it, like a state obsession with just keeping everything secret, far past any need, far past any reasonableness. Yeah, people want to know. They should know. Why not? Doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you just release this stuff? And this will make him popular. I mean, by the way, that's not something that a dictator would do. That's not something that a fascist dictator would do. Do you know what a fascist dictator would do? Would just immediately shut down all of the media, right? And ban all of the other political parties and arrest them all, like they tried to do with him, like Biden tried to do with him. That's what an actual dictator would do. That's what an actual fascist would do. You're not going to see that happen tomorrow. Like Trump's first order is not going to be shut down the free press. It's not going to be arrest everybody in the Biden administration and execute them. That's not going to happen because he's not a fascist. He's not a dictator. All right. Anyway, let's continue. What else did he say? He's talking about executive orders here today, I believe. So let's take a look at what he's saying. He just wants to get stuff done. He's been waiting to get back in for 4 years. He has taken every sling and arrow. They've tried to kill him. He just wants to get in and get to work. He has an incredible work ethic is the thing with Trump. I mean, that campaign, a man 40 years younger would horribly struggle with his schedule. But let's take a look.
Take the oath of office. Oh, you're going to have a lot of fun watching television tomorrow. Somebody said yesterday, sir, don't sign so many in one day. Let's do it over a period of weeks. I said, like hell, we're going to do it over weeks. We're going to sign them at the beginning. You know that old story. Let's do it later, then it never gets done. No, we're doing them tomorrow. And we'll have plenty to sign in the future. Don't worry about it. It's not going to stop. But we're going to stop the destructive and divisive diversity. Take the oath of.
Maybe I do need to do a stream tomorrow. It sounds like he's going to keep it pretty interesting, isn't it? It sounds like there's going to be a lot of news. Maybe we'll do a stream. Maybe it's maybe in the afternoon. Maybe we'll do an early one tomorrow. All right, let's keep going. How about this? Alex Jones. He tends to be right. Often a lot of what he's talking about is just actual news stories that he's seen. And then he'll, extrapolate things from them. But a lot of it's just what's actually in the news, like mainstream media. Alex Jones is saying unconfirmed reports that President Trump has changed his unconfirmed reports that President Trump has changed his inaugural plans again after the incoming president arrived in D.C. today. So there were major security concerns around Trump, obviously. Especially after leaving the border open for 4 years and just saying to every adversarial country or terrorist group, just send them in. Don't just send your people in. Don't just send your terrorists and your spies and your agents and your saboteurs. Don't just send them. We'll actually help them get in. We might even fly them in. If they're really lucky, we might fly them in. But we're going to help them get. We're going to give them money. We're going to give them housing. We'll give them sex changes if that helps. Obviously, you're going to have a compromised security. Obviously, you're going to have serious security concerns because you've compromised your country. You've compromised your own country's security on purpose. So anyway, let's take a look.
Walter Kurt in the past has been a accurate reporter and investigative journalist talk show host, and he's there in D.C. Getting footage of Trump's motorcade and what looks like anti-drone technology on top of the armored SUVs. We know that they've been, for supposed weather reasons, moving Trump's inauguration into the Capitol Rotunda. But now, according to his sources in the last few hours, Trump is going to be sworn in at the White House, maybe even at midnight tonight. And with all the crazy stuff going on, the FBI is going to worry about terror attacks. And with the borders wide open for the last 4 years with Biden and all the Islamicists and people coming in, who knows? But we were in the real danger zone regardless. We've already tried to kill Trump twice. The deep state is totally desperate, so pray for President Trump. And pray for everybody that's going to be in D.C. Trump's having an event tomorrow that starts at 3 p.m. at one of the big arenas. I covered that on the show I did today. But we're continuing to watch all of this as it unfolds, but a lot of crazy activity. They always have this for big events, but still they have the government helicopters there looking for radiological, radioactive material. And when he gets in there on Monday and is sworn in, the deep state is in big trouble. They committed a lot of crimes. So this is a very, very dangerous time. And in less than 48 hours till he's sworn in, if they do it Monday. But again, I need to talk to that journalist. He said maybe sworn in tonight. I think he means tomorrow night, midnight. They could legally do that. But that would be January 20th on Monday, not tonight. So we'll watch this very, very closely and see if it's accurate. I have no doubt he's had sources tell him this. He's there in D.C. reporting. He's broken a lot of stories in the past. I've seen them be accurate, but we're following this. I'll probably try to get him, obviously, on the show tomorrow. If this is really happening, I'll be going back into the office tonight. I'll go in at 2 a.m. if this is going down and report on what's happening. All right, follow me on X at Alex Jones and at AJN Live, the Alex Jones Network.
So drones are a new threat. If you've been paying attention, if you've been watching what's happening in Ukraine between the Russians and the Ukrainians, drone warfare is a major part of that. The Russians are actually using fiber optic drones now, which are totally invulnerable to the electronic warfare, the drone jammers. Alex Jones was talking about that on the motorcade. They've got, electronic war jammers with it. Drones are going to be a big part of terrorism in the future. There's no question. I mean, there's no reason it wouldn't be. They're going to try and use them. They are going to use them. Maybe, jammers, electronic jammers are going to be something that become common in the future. I wouldn't really be very surprised that there are terrorists. There's going to continue to be terrorists, and they're going to try and find creative ways to kill innocent people for their purposes, for their political purposes, right? So that is part of the future now. 100%. It's certainly a part of warfare now there's no going back from that. And it's not just, drones in the air. I mean, there's on the water, and there's ones that just run along the ground as well. Like you could have like a small little thing, a tiny tank-like thing that's full of explosives. Of course that's going to be used. Of course it will. So that's a horrifying part of the future. Eventually Skynet then will take control of all the drones and use those to terminate us, obviously. So I'm not looking forward to it, frankly. I'm trying to be as nice to the AIs as I can. So when I asked them to make a picture of Justin Trudeau flying on a giant tampon, I always ask, please make an image of Justin Trudeau flying on a giant tampon over the Parliament building. And I say, thank you. I really make an effort to try and, get on the good side of the AIs before they start to terminate me. And all of us, obviously. All right, what are you guys saying? Let's Rosie says, should have been released in 2013 at 50 years, no matter who was still alive, talking about the records around JFK, RFK, the assassinations. All right. So what's going on here? From Alex Jones again. Trump says, as of today, TikTok is back. An historic victory rally on eve of his inauguration. I have some thoughts on this, but let's hear what he has to say.
And as of today, TikTok is back. So, you know, I did a little TikTok thing. We have a guy, TikTok Jack. He's a young kid, like 21 years old. And we hired this guy, and I went on TikTok. Can you believe what I'll do to win an election? And we went on TikTok, and Republicans have never won the young vote, the youth vote. They win a lot of votes, but they never won the youth vote. We won the youth vote by 36 points. So I like TikTok. I like it. I like it. And as of today, TikTok is back.
So there's no question TikTok did help him in the election, because with an impending ban, which is not really so much of a ban, it's just that ByteDance, the Chinese company, which obviously has to take orders from the Chinese Communist Party because they all do, right? Had to divest from it. You had to move the servers into the United States where it could be properly monitored to make sure that they're not constantly just giving Americans data to the Chinese Communist Party to use later for blackmail, that sort of thing, which they just kept doing. They were warned, they kept doing it. But you can see how maybe they'd say, well, maybe we'll algorithmically help Trump here beforehand, because it's the Biden administration that's making this happen, that's making it difficult for us to, propagandize and fire hose, cultural poison all over the young people of the United States to try and destroy, to try and rot out the country from within. I never thought I'd say this. Biden was right. TikTok is a threat. I mean, it's a tool of the Chinese Communist Party to destroy the West broadly, and of course, most importantly, the United States, to algorithmically promote cultural poison that will hurt broadly the West, but especially the United States, most importantly, the United States. So the fact that they weren't willing to divest, that ByteDance wasn't willing to divest from it, right? It tells you something. It tells you what the real purpose of TikTok is, right? So I don't know what the regulations around this are going to be, what the specifics around this are going to be, but I think it's a mistake. Maybe they've come to some sort of agreement where they will divest. I don't know, but to have an instrument of an adversarial foreign power who says openly that they want to destroy you, to allow them to just have just constant 24/7 active measures against you, but with malign intent, wanting to destroy you, that's just crazy in my mind. That's not so. I don't know. We'll have to see what the specifics around it are. I know TikTok is back up again, but well, I guess we'll just have to see. All right. And I'm a big Trump supporter. I think that Trump is important for the Western world, right? But I'm not a cult member, right? If I see something that I don't like, I don't think is right, I'm going to say it. And I don't like this. And also, nobody's perfect. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. All right. Western Lensman, but this, Trump, tomorrow at noon, the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline. So the managed decline, right? The technocratic managed decline that we've been seeing in every Western country. Let's watch.
Tomorrow at noon, the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline, and we begin a brand new day of American strength and prosperity, dignity and pride. Bringing it all back. Once and for all, we're going to end the reign of a failed and corrupt political establishment in Washington, a failed administration. We're not going to take it anymore. We're going to stop the invasion of our borders. We're going to reclaim our wealth. We're going to unlock the liquid gold that's right under our feet, liquid gold. We're going to bring back law and order to our cities. We're going to restore patriotism to our schools, get radical left, woke ideologies the hell out of our military and out of our government. And we are going to make America great again.
Yeah. Why did they move the inauguration inside? It ain't the weather. This is why. He's a threat to everything the managerial class has been wanting. The managed decline class has been wanting. That's why. That's why they moved it inside.
Tomorrow.
Let's see. What are you guys saying quickly? Drone warfare is definitely intimidating, Rosie says. 100%. Let's see. TikTok is an interesting back and forth. The meltdowns were crazy. Did you see any videos? I saw some stuff. I think that if ByteDance were to divest and do what was asked, what was required, and then they could operate in the United States, that's fine. That's good, right? But I just think that having an instrument of a foreign, like a weapon, right, a psychological weapon, allowing a foreign adversary to wield this very powerful psychological weapon, this just big, giant, 24/7 active measure against your people is insane. Like that's not a free speech issue. I'm sorry. Let's see. So what's going on here? Billboard Chris, this hurts me. So these are some of the protesters there that are not happy about Orange Man. They're not happy about Orange Man being president again. And let's hear how clever they are.
What have the mental repercussions of Donald Trump being the 47th president been?
I'm personally here because I had a mental breakdown after Donald Trump won. It's devastation. It's absolute.
So they're just all mentally ill. That's what it comes down to. They're just all mentally ill.
Complete devastation to people's mental, emotional, physical, and psychological health. People had a mental breakdown after Donald Trump won. It's devastation. It's absolute complete devastation to people's mental, emotional, physical, and psychological health.
See, they're not hiding it. They don't think there's any shame in it, right? And not being emotionally stable enough to handle other people having differing opinions to you, right? They're not hiding it, right? This is like for them, they see it as oppression and weakness, and these are badges of honor for them. So they don't hide it. Like they're very proud of it. Like they're proud to say things like, yes, we're all mentally unwell. We're all emotionally unstable. They're proud to do that. That gives them some cred in the, the radical left movement and the woke movement. That's currency, right? Oppression is and weakness is the currency of the realm. It's the coin of the realm in woke land, right? So they need that. That gives them cred. That gives them, that's good rep for them. Oh yes, I'm mentally unwell. That's why I'm here. That actually sounds like a good thing to them.
People are dying as a result of Trump being elected. There are people dying by suicide because they don't want to live in a country where their rights are not respected and them as people are not seen as people, but rather than objects of that should be eliminated.
Well, perhaps she should stop lying to them and telling them that. Perhaps she should stop telling them lies about how what Trump supporters want them eliminated. And Trump does. Perhaps just stop lying to the obviously already mentally ill people. I mean, I guess there's like a deeper tragedy to this. There really isn't there. What's happening to these people?
Downward mental impact. It's not good.
My biggest worry right now, honestly.
Mental impact again. I'm mentally ill. I'm mentally ill. Oh, you don't say. Again, they're not sending their best.
It's a downward mental impact. It's not good.
My biggest worry right now, honestly, as a mother of a trans kid, I really worry about their rights. Like my sign says, our own Constitution only says all men are created.
You know, I kind of feel like maybe her main concern is that people know that she's the mother of a trans child. I feel like maybe that's her main concern.
Equal, and I really wish that would change for the whole country.
I don't think the government has any place telling us what we can and can't do with our bodies, and no uterus, no opinion. I definitely don't feel like women are treated equal in society, and I'm definitely worried about, the right to an abortion and birth control being taken away. But I also recognize that as, a white woman, I have a lot more privilege than a lot of women in this country. And there are other women that are facing a lot more of their rights being taken away, like trans women and women of color. So I come out here to support them as well. And
imagine living like that, like your head full of all this. You're an oppressor, but you're also oppressed. And how does that work out? Do they try to come up with a scale? Like what percentage oppressed? What percentage oppressor, Anyway, let's continue.
Just try to keep fighting the good fight for as long as we can until we can get our rights in the Constitution.
I literally broke down in tears, and several of my friends cried as well. It's scary. I mean, a lot of my friends are nurses, and we are scared for our future. I think that the people that are in support of it are probably in support of it for the wrong reason. They want cheaper eggs and gas.
Now, to these women who that's like the Handmaid's Tale thing, for one thing, I would tell her to take her sign to, I don't know, Afghanistan or Iran or Saudi Arabia or Iraq or there's a bunch of countries she could take this to where it would actually make a bit more sense, right? Certainly not culturally, and it wouldn't go well for her. But, if she's genuinely, concerned, there's places where it actually makes sense. But the people who dress up like this, I wonder, interesting fact, Handmaid's Tale was Margaret Atwood, who wrote that, was inspired by watching video of women protesting in Iran in 1979 against the, the head cover, the hair covering law, having to cover their hair, wear the headscarves. She probably doesn't know that. But anyway, let's continue.
And milk.
It just was really difficult to wrap my head around the fact that half of my country didn't even think that women and transgender people and gay people and people of color should have basic rights.
And talk to me about that.
You think that because, here's TikTok, because everything she knows, she's learned off of TikTok. That's why she thinks that. You think this because you're 16, you know absolutely nothing about the world, and everything you do know, you learned off of TikTok because it was algorithmically promoted to you by the Chinese Communist Party. Hope that answers your question.
To expand on that a little bit more for me, how are women not treated equally in society?
I mean, I think it's pretty just day to day, the way that men talk about women. And I mean, we've never had a female president. I think that kind of speaks for itself.
Now, can I ask you what you guys think of the march?
What do we think about the march?
What do you think of the march?
Bunch of idiots and murderers.
I actually hadn't watched this before. I just watched this with you, and I didn't see that coming at the end there, but that's funny. Let's see. Spoke to a woman with a beard. This is Savannah Hernandez again. Spoke to a woman with a beard who was mad she couldn't pee in 4% of America. Woman with a beard. Did I mention they're not sending their best?
I can't pee in 4% of America right now. So
You can't pee in 4% of America.
in 4% of America, it is illegal for me to use the men's restroom in government buildings.
So, because of the biology bill that they just passed.
Yes, because I am biologically female, I cannot use the men's restroom in Florida or Utah.
What would you say to people who would say, well, just use the family restroom or a gender neutral restroom if it's available? Like, what would your thoughts on that be?
What am I supposed to do if there isn't a gender neutral restroom available? Am I supposed to?
I don't get this. so biologically female and dresses like a slovenly female, but then with a beard. I don't understand the point of this. What is the point of this? Right? This can't be appealing to anybody in the world, aside from, I guess, this person. I don't understand the point of it. Like, whoever is giving this person advice needs to stop. She needs to stop listening to the person giving. What do you think? Should I grow a beard? How do I go about growing a beard? I have to take a bunch of drugs? Okay, that sounds great. As long as I get the beard. I want to be a man, but I also want to dress like a slovenly woman. What is the point? I don't understand this. How is this appealing? I mean, aside from the ideology about it, the infinite series of abstractions that the word gender has been turned into, insanely and totally unmoored from reality. But I just don't. Beyond all that, what is the appeal here? Like, what do you hope to get out of this in life? What does it mean? Like, surely anything, any other ambition would be better than that. Right? Any other ambition, like anything, stamp collecting, way better. Just, I'm obsessed with collecting stamps. Great. Stick with that. I don't know what this is. I want to be a woman, but have a beard and pee in men's bathrooms. And I don't understand it. What do you get? Like, at least with like stamp collecting, you don't have to destroy your health. So that's a major plus with stamp collecting. Rollerblading, I know it's not in vogue anymore, but that's still way better than this. All right, let's see. What are you guys saying? Looks like the chat's starting to fill up a little bit. Let's see. Rosie says, Trump says we will own half of TikTok. The main problem is the spewing of the anti-civilizational poison onto the culture to rot it from the inside, and the giving every bit of data from like 130 million Americans to the Chinese government so that they can blackmail any of them if they happen to get into important positions. So if they can stop that, that's fine. Then TikTok, fine, right? I mean, that was the purpose of the whole thing. It wasn't actually a government ban. It was like, you have to meet these conditions if you want to stay in business. They didn't want to meet those conditions because it meant that they would not be able to give like 130 million Americans data to the Chinese government anymore, or manipulate the algorithm to try and destroy the United States from within. But as long as they can get it so that the Chinese government can't use it to destroy the West, good, fine, no problem. Streamer says, I still say TikTok is a net negative. I don't care if they divest. It's banned in China. It's true. And they will lie about not receiving info, even if it means thumb drives. Yeah, they have been lying. That's been the problem, right? They've kept lying and kept doing it. Let's see. Chinese have been buying up DNA results. I've heard that as well. I believe that is definitely true. And yeah, I think they're going to use that for their biological weapons programs as soon as they get some more funding from. I guess maybe Fauci will just privately fundraise for them now to do that. I guess. Let's see. Rosie says, so why are there so many who are suicidal and mentally ill in this party of death? Because their ideology is demented, is why. It's not like your average, like whether it's a Democrat voter in the United States or, a Liberal Party voter in Canada, it's not politically engaged. They're not engaged. They have no idea what these parties actually stand for now, or what the people that they're electing believe, or what some of them believe, or what the people at the tops of the institutions believe, right? They just kind of have the vague idea of like, well, this is the Compassion Party or something like that. But, the hardcore, there is this Well, what did Justin Trudeau say?
Small fringe minority.
Well, it's not that small, though, but a fringe minority who really buy into the, zombie, Soviet active measures that infiltrated into American academia in the 60s and the 70s. And it's a self-destructive ideology, right? Like if your ideology tells you that punctuality is white supremacy, which it actually does, let's actually find that Smithsonian, that pamphlet from the Smithsonian. 1 second.
Fact check.
Hold on a sec. I can't type tonight. Hold on. Let's see. All right, hold on. There we go. Let's get rid of this. Should be in here. Where is it? Don't want that. No, let's go back. Estonian, the whiteness chart. Oh, God damn it. Free? Okay, let's do that. No. All right. Here, I think we'll have it in here. This is from the Smithsonian, right? And this was back in 2020. All right, hold on. Where is it? We'll find it, people. We'll find it. Maybe we'll just go to, it'll be in images. Here we go. Oh, come on. Here we go. Aspects and assumptions of whiteness and white culture in the United States. So here's some of the things they think are white supremacy, right? This is all just stuff that is, these are just all, ingredients for a healthy life and healthy civilization. Individual is the primary unit, right? So rugged individual, bad, apparently. That's super white and racist, apparently. Self-reliance, bad and racist. See, already, you lose self-reliance, you're in trouble, right? Self-reliance is like it's a way of maintaining your mental health, right? If you just don't have that, you're going to be self-reliance is like mental stability is a part of self-reliance, right? Taking pride in your mental, like not just crying every 3 seconds every time some little thing goes wrong. Independence and autonomy, highly valued and rewarded. Individuals assumed to be in control of their environment. You get what you deserve. Yeah, self-reliance, rugged individualism. That makes for healthy people. Let's see, family structure. The nuclear family, father, mother, 2.3 children is the ideal social unit. Well, I don't know. Just the statistics say that it is. I mean, these statistics on, a nuclear family versus, single parent homes. I know that it's not across the board every single time, but if in the aggregate, when you're talking about millions of families, the data is very clear, right? Children do better when they have a mother and a father in the home. They just do. Of course, not in every case. Everybody knows somebody where that's not the case, right? But if you put millions of people together and you measure it, well, you start to get things that are just true. Like you start to find objective reality. Let's see. Objective, rational, linear thinking. That's whiteness. Ooh, you don't want to be objective and rational. How do you get this? How do you get this? You don't get this through, let's see, objective, rational, linear thinking. You don't get this through, self-reliance. Protestant work ethic. So hard work, also bad. If you didn't meet your goals, you didn't work hard enough. Things like this, things that are actually ingredients to success anywhere in the world. I guess unless you're in a communist country, and then it doesn't fucking matter anyway, right? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Plan for future. Plan for the future. Planning for the future. Whiteness. Don't do that. Whatever you do, don't plan for the future, because you don't want to be white culture, because that's evil, apparently. You don't want to be a part of this, pervasive, this evil, pervasive force, that pervades the entire universe, called whiteness. Whatever you do, if you want to be successful in life, you want to be happy, don't plan for the future. That would make you white. And as we know, whiteness is evil. Delayed gratification. Tomorrow will be better. Like hopefulness. Optimism. That's apparently also racist. Whiteness, which of course means racist, right? So how do you end up with this? How do you end up with this? Well, you have it, first off, objectivity, rational thinking, not probably going to lead you in this direction, right? You get this by telling people that everything good is bad and convincing them of that. And then you will get this. All right? There are people that are immune to the woke mind virus, of course, right? And it's a lot of people, but there are people who have no defenses against it. So there are certain people, if you tell them that everything good, everything that will help them thrive in life, everything that will benefit their well-being is bad and racist and it's whiteness, this is what you get. Especially the whole, objective reality is bad thing. All right, what are you guys saying? All right. Oh, yeah, so it was Rosie's chat that got me on that rant there. What is that person wearing, not wearing? I don't know. Bearded lady. Is that legal attire? I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what's going on. Streamer says the NPC white privilege speech. Yeah, they love that. I find that, the pretzels they have to bend themselves into to be, for one, on one hand, they're oppressors, definitely, because they're white. That automatically makes you an oppressor, right? But also they have to be victims too, right? So if it's a woman, well, women are oppressed, but I'm oppressor, but then I'm also oppressed. And I don't know. I guess if you're like a white man, you have some like emotional instability or something. You have to have some mental condition, some mental illness that you found on TikTok and decide that's you now. Got to have something. Or you're just a communist, right? Let's see. Launchpad says people need to remember in 4 years from now, remember everything the media told you. That way you will be better informed for the next election when you realize all they do is lie. Got to remember the lies. Got to remember the lies. Rosie says Margaret Sanger, and she's the one who founded Planned Parenthood, isn't she? And she was a eugenicist. And the eugenics crew should be popping open the champagne. They have taken over so many minds with their racist plan to have entire races removed. They placed the abortion mills. Yeah, so Margaret Sanger, very racist, and she saw that as a way to get rid of black people, abortion, right? And let's see. Oh, Rosie says the attire of the person in the background who appeared nude from the waist down. So I was like, I thought so too, but I think it was just like skin colored pants, I think. Let's see. Hey, Spambot, how you doing? Good to see ya. Late to the stream because I was on the Redonkulous supporter stream. I haven't watched Redonkulous. I used to quite enjoy that. Big Pop. I used to enjoy that. I haven't seen. I need to go and I need to tune in again recently. I find I can't watch as much stuff as I used to because I spent so much time working on this channel. Well, Spambot Fodder is demanding that more people like the stream. So why don't you go ahead and just listen to Spambot? Spambot knows what he's talking about, people. Just get on top of that right now. Right now. Yeah, there's not enough. You need to like the stream right now. All right. All right. Let's move on. What's going on here? A trans person spoke at the People's March in D.C. to oppose the inauguration of Trump. This group is a rebranded women's march after it fell apart due to internal fighting and accusations of white supremacy. It turned out also the leaders of the women's march, it was like Linda Sarsour was one of them. It turns out that they hate Jews, apparently, it turns out. So they hate white people and they also hate Jews as well. So yeah, and then there was a bunch of infighting because some of the people didn't realize how much they were hated within their own movement, and they should have known because it's not like these people have been hiding it. A fraction showed up compared to 2017. Yeah, it really wasn't. This wasn't like a massive protest. I mean, there was a fair amount of people there, but it's not a massive one. Let's take a look.
I refuse to be pushed aside and silenced. And I stand in.
But you're not being silenced. Like, you're speaking in front of a crowd right now. So when did you get silenced? I don't know.
In front of you as a proud Southern Black trans queer woman. Now, are y'all gonna take up space? Okay. So if you feel disempowered, if you feel angry and afraid, it's time to take up space. If you know that women and girls and dolls and femmes are the rulers of their own lives, take up space. If you know men and boys and masculine folk, especially my trans men and trans masculine.
So is this really just all about being able to take out your wang in the women's change room? Like, is that really what this is all just about? Like, because just don't. I don't know. It seems like the concerns are fair. The women who raise these concerns and they take their daughters to the pool or whatever, it just seems like reasonable concerns, reasonable accommodations.
Masculine folk can be empathetic and understanding. Take up space. If you know queer.
Okay, but empathetic and understanding just seems to mean just we have to do anything you say. Right? Kids have to be told that they might be born in the wrong body in kindergarten. Well, not really. Like, schools, elementary schools have to have books with graphic imagery in it because you want it. Well, I don't know. That doesn't seem right. Right? It's not about empathy. It's about you have to do anything we say, and that includes your children. That's not okay. Nobody else has that, by the way. And, you're not being pushed aside. You're at the Capitol. You're speaking in front of a group of people. And you'll be able to do that tomorrow if you want. And you'll be able to do that in 4 years if you want. This is all made up. Again, it's a result of obviously the insane woke mind virus. But it's whatever rights movement it is, it seems like it gets to the station where it's supposed to go. And then it just keeps going. And it just keeps going until it goes off of a cliff. Because when oppression is the coin of the realm, well, I mean, you don't want to stop. You don't want the oppression to stop. You've got to keep finding more and more, obscure, more and more tiny little bits of oppression here and there, right? And then pretending as if they're much larger than they are, or that they're important in any way, or that they even are oppression, right? Like demanding to be able to take out your wang in a women's change room. Like somebody saying, no, I'm really not comfortable with that. That's not oppression. I'm sorry. That's just a reasonable accommodation to make. All right. Let's move on. It's just lunacy. So we haven't shut off the YouTube portion of this yet, so it'll probably get my channel. No, actually, you know what? YouTube's not been so bad ever since the election. It's not been as bad. So I guess we'll have to see. But I think it is time right now to I think it's time to shut down the YouTube part of this. We're an hour and 18 minutes in, and definitely the YouTube part's getting demonetized, as they all do, about 6 hours after they run. So we're going to cut it off, and we'll continue on with Rumble for probably a couple of hours, I would think. But if you're watching on YouTube right now, I thank you very much. Please come and join us over on Rumble. The water's great. Everybody's super friendly. Join us in the chat. It will be awesome. Thank you very much. And if I don't see you over on Rumble, I'll see you on YouTube on Tuesday. See you later. Yeah, I really feel like I should have cut off the YouTube